The reason why black women get so much hate is because how we, on our TV shows, across these platforms, how people look at us. So when you start looking, they look at us like an ignorant group of people.
Right.
And especially.
Yo. It's your boy, Dizzy D.Spill. You are tuning into Thoughts of Dizzy right here on the Epic Lounge Network. Now, we are definitely going to get back into this episode of The Truth After Dark with Paul Pierce and Azar. This is going to be very interesting. So, without further ado, let's let Paul Pierce finish saying his take on why black folks get a bad rap, specifically black women. Let's see what his take is.
Like when you look across the platforms and you start looking at the Real Housewives of whatever, and we glorify the shaking that ass, we glorify the fighting, we glorify the talking about each other. I'm talking about like black women. We glorify it.
You know that white women do that
the
too,
ratings
though.
and the ratings are off the.
Okay, Paul Pierce is correct. As a community, and specifically our women, younger women, I'll say, this is a problem. You know, it is the violence and the messiness and the bad behavior is glorified. Now, what Azar is starting to do is something that a lot of women do in these situations is they say, but they do it too. And just because we're replicating something that someone else does or repeating something that someone else does, it doesn't make it right because now the both of us are doing it. So I see the direction she's going because she's not telling a lie. Other groups do this, but it doesn't validate our ignorance just because other people are being ignorant or being stupid or have bad behavior. So let's a couple more seconds to see what happens in this interaction.
You know that white women do that too, though.
Not
Jersey Shore, the housewives of like Pontiac or the other housewives of Beverly Hills is white women. It's not black women on that at all.
This is true.
So I'm letting you know there's a lot of housewives that are not.
This is true. Let me add the rest of this so she can finish her point.
You know, is basketball wives. I'm talking about the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills is all white women throwing drinks at each other, cursing each other out. But
she is right. She is 100% right. All these reality TV shows, none of them are any different. It's just culturally, that's the only difference. Drinks are being thrown, cussing is happening, fighting is happening, fraud off camera where husbands and wives get locked up because they had bad dealings outside of filming. All of these things are true in what she's saying. But again, it doesn't validate our bad behavior just because other people do it. If anything, that should be our opportunity to kind of like retreat from those behaviors and let other people have it. Let other groups have the ignorance and let them be the focus while we quietly and diligently build up ourselves and our communities. So she is correct. She is telling the truth. For anybody that don't believe her or believe what I'm saying, go tune into these different reality shows and you'll definitely see what is going on. I will also point out that although Azar is right and Paul Pierce is correct, I also understand that, you know, whoever controls the cameras, whoever controls the media, controls the narrative. Straight up. So until we have more people that look like us on our own networks to where we can actually present positive things, then yeah, it's going to be like that. So to kind of respond to what Paul Pierce is saying or his point, I will say that the issue I have with what he's saying, because it's not 100% false, is that, okay, yeah, this is an issue in our community. However, I do believe that some of the things that can change is us having those outlets to promote the positive stuff in our community. And if you grew up in the 90s like I did, you had UPN, you had all of these different shows. You had Family Matters, you had Moesha, you had Parenthood, you had Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, you had Martin. These were career people. These were people with real problems. They were attractive. They were charismatic and all of that stuff. And over the years, it just got replaced with reality TV. So that's why we don't have the representation. And those are true realistic representations. That's why those shows are so iconic to our community, because we could relate to that stuff. Even Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, you could relate to that. You probably didn't have cousins that were just as rich as the Banks family, but you had cousins and relatives that were doing better than you, to where it felt like you were at the Banks household, right? So we don't have proper representation anymore, and that changes with the times and stuff like that. So to say that we glorify, well, I don't necessarily think it's glorifying, but if that's the only means for entertainment, because nothing else is being put out there, it's literally being put in your face, and that is kind of your only option. And so people are just like, well, whatever, I just want some kind of entertainment, something to do while I'm eating chips or whatever the case is, and that's what you find yourself doing. So we have choices to indulge in other things, but we also have to be realistic and say that the climate and the things with entertainment has changed. There was a Cosby era, in the 70s and 80s, and Sanford and Son, and all of these things that represented who we really are and what we really come from are no longer there. So we have to do something about that as well. But I am going to, let me get back to what Azar was saying. Let's get back to that. Let's go.
Guess what? It is not as bad because they're white, right? It's not as aggressive. It's not as ghetto. It is not as raunchy because they're white women doing it. Black women are always held to a way higher standard. We always have to prove why we deserve to have a seat at the table.
I'm going to give some pushback on that, not against her point, but I think it's something deeper. I don't think it's just necessarily about being held to a higher standard. I think people intentionally make it harder. Okay. I do think that things are made harder for the sisters in this context, in this situation. And it's like, once you pass those barriers, it's like, well, I don't have anything else to throw at you, so I guess you can come in. Because if Black women were held to a higher standard, and if that were 100% true, then I think that Black women would be getting the respect that they deserve. Because I do think that Black women deserve a whole lot more respect than that they're getting. And I am talking about the respectable Black women. Okay. So that ain't for you people that like to act ignorant and do ignorant things. I'm not talking about y'all. I'm talking about the Black women that care about their image, that care about their morals, that care about what they want to give the world and what they're getting from the world. So, as I say that, I don't necessarily agree with being held to a higher standard, because there are a lot of women that are on that standard and still get disrespected, like Michelle Obama. She's highly revered, and she's well educated, and she knows her stuff. She's never been wrapped up in any BS, and she is not respected. So, because when you hold something to a standard, that means you also have a certain respect for it. So I don't know about I think we need to find another description than being held to a high standard, because we have a lot of Black folks that are way up there that have exceeded the standard, and they still don't get the respect that they deserve. So I think we got to find something different. But let Azar finish.
Always have to prove that we deserve to be here. No matter, we always have to be way more classier than you. A white
That's
girl
true.
can come in here half naked, and I can come in here with a little titty showing, and guess what? I'm a whore.
Yeah.
Like, it's always going to be this comparison, and I think that Black women are tired of being compared.
Now, the one thing that I would ask Azar if I was talking to her with Paul is, I would say, who are these people? Is it Black men doing it to you? Is it white men doing it to you? Is it what group? And I know probably one of the responses I would get is society, but what majority group in society makes Black women feel that way? Because I think that could be a whole different conversation within itself. Or you guys in the comment section can let me know what group in society makes Black women feel this way the most. And if you want to pepper in a couple subgroups in there, but I want to know the majority group of what you think that is.
I agree with you that culturally Black people are doing too much, shaking ass and this and that. Yes, I don't think you're wrong. Like Zeus Network and Jocelyn's Cabernet and all of that stuff is out of line.
and the list goes on. I'm pretty sure they were really going in on that one. What I will say about that, honestly, is yeah, we can sit up here, we can say black folks do too much, and at times we do, but to keep it real, nah, man, other groups have the same problem. There's not a group of people on Earth, or not a race on Earth, that doesn't have a good side and a bad side, a ghetto side and a modest side, and everything else. And I've been talking, with Poe on the podcast on the Notion, and he's always stood 10 toes on like, nah, we shouldn't be trying to make ourselves like this to accommodate other people. I mean, that's in a nutshell what he was saying as far as worrying about what people think. And to a certain degree, I agree with him on that. I do think that we should carry ourselves in a better way for influence on our own. But I also don't think we should ever move a certain type of way because of a different group. And I understand racism and people having the power to decline you because of you showing, who you really are, how you wear your hair and how you move. You have to be strategic at times, and you have to deal with the code switching and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, nah, man, I do think it's unfortunate that our people, specifically our black women, have to play the game and have to be X amount of times better and stuff like that. I'm really not a fan of that. But I also do think that when it comes to our community, when it comes to the way that we carry ourselves, I think it should always be for us, not for other people. And I do think that we should put ourselves in position. Instead of wanting to be reality stars, maybe we need to figure out how to shoot reality shows. Instead of trying to get a deal on a certain network, maybe we need to create these networks. I understand that people are not a fan of Zeus, and Zeus network has a lot of ghetto stuff and a lot of fighting and a lot of controversy. That is one network. We need to stop using one example that represents all of us. Okay. Unless it's positive. If it's positive, hell yeah. Ride that car till the wheels fall off. But when it comes to the negative, we need to stop using one or two examples and not justifying, but that generalizing the stigma or the stereotype about black people and black women. We have to stop doing that, because if you can name more negative things in the black community, or more negative people in the black community, or negative situations in the black community, that's just where your heart is at. Because if your heart is about looking for good, it's not hard to find good in our community, in our culture, especially in the internet and social media era. There's tons of things that are great about the black community and the black culture. So if you go looking for stats, if you go looking for he say or she say, if you go looking for Instagram examples and TikTok examples, as far as what's negative about the community, that's where your heart is, which means you are overall probably just a negative person, because like attracts like. If you are craving something, or something that's on your mind, it's going to attract you to it. It's going to gravitate to you. You're going to gravitate towards it. If that's what you choose to do, that's what you choose to do. But again, when it comes to black women in this in this society, you guys let me know what you think in the comment section about this exchange, and even my take on this exchange, as far as in black women feeling like they have to be the best. They have to be more classy. They're not allowed to act ghetto and everyone else is. Who are the people that are making you feel that way within society? Because society is the generalization. Let me know what you think. You've been tuning into Thoughts of Dizzy right here on the Epic Lounge Network. Let me know what you think. Please like, please subscribe, and please leave notifications, or turn your notifications on. Until next time, peace.